Welcome to Pristina, the capital of Kosovo, for Europe District, our magazine on EU enlargement. 4 years ago, Kosovo unilaterally declared its independence. The move angered Serbia, which still regards Kosovo as its own province. Meanwhile, this landlocked Balkan nation has been recognized by 91 countries. Not enough, though, to have a seat at the United Nations. But as we find out, Kosovars have a dream. They want to join the European Union. The road will be long as tensions continue to run high between the ethnic Albanian majority and the Serb minority. But we'll also show you the bright side of Kosovo. Its people are among the most welcoming in the Balkans, and we'll meet Gani Jakupi. He is the author of a graphic novel on the end of the war in Kosovo. It was in 1999. But let's move to our first story, and we'll travel to the north of Kosovo, a region lived in mainly by ethnic Serbs. Backed by Belgrade, they refuse to recognize Kosovo's central institutions, and they expect a lot from Serbia's new president, Tomislav Nikolic, a nationalist who has very strong views on Kosovo.
North Mitrovica, home to more than 13,000 ethnic Serbs. Here, evidence of the Serbian presidential election is everywhere. The new nationalist president Tomislav Nikolic taking 70% of the vote here to oust the pro-European Boris Tadic.
He's the only Serb who has any value, and as for Tadic, he's destroyed us. He's a traitor.
I hope that these politicians will be better than the last ones. I also hope that Nikolic's election will ease the situation in the region.
Most ethnic Serbs here refuse to recognize Kosovo's independence from Serbia, boycotting the authority of Kosovo's capital, Pristina. On entering office, the new Serbian president made it clear that for him, Kosovo is a Serbian province.
I desire a Serbia that's a full member of the EU, and which will never give up its territorial integrity, nor its sovereignty, nor Kosovo.
Pro-EU membership, but not at the cost of Kosovo. Nikolic's message hasn't gone down well with authorities in Pristina.
Messages which he was sending the last weeks are not at all messages in European spirit. Our position as a government is very clear that Serbia has to withdraw without any condition its police and security forces from the north.
More than 30,000 people voted in the Serbian election, Pristina reluctantly allowing Serbs from Kosovo to vote. 90 polling stations were set up in northern Kosovo. Branislav voted in this school building. On his ballot paper, the name Tomislav Nikolic.
I voted for him to prove that we still exist, and that it's not true that there are no more Serbs in Kosovo. There are 105,000 of us, and 60,000 voters.
As well as organising elections, Belgrade continues to run local administration in North Mitrovica. The Serbian flag flies at the town hall, and the mayor also heads up the local branch of Tomislav Nikolic's party.
The Serbs will never leave the north of the province, even though that's what the Albanians want. The Serbs will do all they can to remain where they belong. This is where our grandparents were born.
In this enclave, schools, hospitals and administration are all funded by the Serbian government. Funding Pristina says isn't legal.
There's been a change in attitudes. Now it's the Serbs and the Norse who are portrayed as causing trouble. Here, for example, we're depicted as a parallel institution. But there's only ever been Serb institutions.
Inhabitants of northern Mitrovica use Serbian currency. They fly Serbian flags. And in the town square, the message is clear. This is Serbia.
For more on the story, I'm joined by the head of the EU civilian mission in Kosovo, EULEX. Xavier Budmarnak, thank you for having us here at EULEX. We've just seen our report on the situation in the north of Kosovo. There have been elections in Serbia. Mr. Nikolic has very strong views on Kosovo. Are you afraid that the situation in the north of Kosovo will remain frozen?
It's a place where we have a tense situation. Is it going to be more tense or not? There are factors that may indicate that, but that are not necessarily related to the change in Belgrade.
EULEX, the EU civilian mission, is going to cut its staff by 25%. Isn't this premature?
This is only the consequence or the final effect of a process that was started last September to adjust the mission to the new reality that we are facing here. I think there are some key factors that people should be aware of to understand the reason why we did it. One of them is that Kosovo is going to come to the end of what is normally called the supervised independence, where there was some international mechanism to regulate this independence, and this will take place in early September. So we have to adjust to this new reality because it means that Kosovo institutions will be willing to fly more and more solo.
But your colleagues from NATO, who are also part of a broader mission in Kosovo through the KFOR troops, have criticized EULEX for failing to fulfill its share of the mission. It says you are under-resourced, under-equipped. What do you respond? Surely reducing your staff is not the right way to respond to the challenges.
We have the assets and the resources the member states give to us. Okay, so I do with what the member states give to me. I just draw the attention to the fact that most of the time it is the same member states who are sitting in NATO and sitting in the EU that are on one side drawing back their resources and on the other side complaining because we don't achieve all the goals. It doesn't mean that we don't have a responsibility. It's true that we have some difficulties, but we were never established as a military organization, and in no ways there was the intent to replace at some point NATO in its role. I think the two missions have two separate roles, two separate goals.
You have vowed to crack down on corruption in Kosovo. It remains to be seen though, because a lot of people say that corruption is a very big problem for Kosovo. Why is it so difficult for you to crack down on this problem?
First of all, it's difficult in general to deal with corruption. I mean, look what's going on in many EU states. Huh?
But have you tried enough to crack down?
Well, we try to do it. We try to do it as much as we can, based again on the resources we have and on the ability we have to do it. It's difficult. I mean, this is a difficult environment. As you know, we have just launched a campaign to tell the people, you are claiming that we do nothing. Actually, we have done. We have done a significant number of, and we are still doing a significant number of things. Are we going to solve the problem? No, probably not. But it's also up to the Kosovo institution to deal with it, because EULEX will not be there forever.
You've recently launched a new investigation into war crimes that were committed in 1999 in the south of Kosovo, in Mala Kruša. Have we done enough to shed light on what happened in 1999?
The mission deployed in 2008, so there was some things done between 1999 and 2008. Was it enough or not? It's not up to me to say that. And then, since then, we have started. We have investigated a certain number of cases. We have some significant characters here in Kosovo who are also facing the trial in The Hague, but that's another story. There are still something like 1,800 identified missing persons, and the purpose of that is to bring an answer to those families who have lost relatives, who have lost parents, and who don't know what happened exactly.
Xavier Boudmarnac, head of the EULEX mission, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm here in the picturesque village of Janijeva on the outskirts of Pristina. As we saw in our first report, Kosovo's ethnic Serbs and Albanians remain at loggerheads. They live in completely different worlds. But after 2 decades of division, some Serbs are reaching out to the Albanians. Our reporter visited a hospital in the city of Gračanica.
Gračanica, a mainly Serb town just south of the Kosovan capital Pristina. Shaip is Albanian. He's just been treated at this clinic, a service funded entirely by the Serbian government. The funding's raised questions over Kosovo's sovereignty.
It doesn't bother me that it's financed by Serbia. Health is health. It really doesn't bother me.
For Kosovo, places open to all remain rare. The institution's founder, Rada Trajkovic, a doctor and Serb member of the Kosovan parliament. During the war, Trajkovic was forced out of a hospital in Pristina founding this clinic with United Nations money.
We succeeded in bringing together the Hippocratic Oath, which up until now was divided. There was a Serbian oath and an Albanian oath.
In this part of Kosovo, Serbs and Albanians are used to living together, a factor that's contributed to the clinic's success.
We've managed to get beyond the idea that exists elsewhere of having hospitals for Serbs and other different hospitals for Albanians. We managed to do that because here the people are better integrated.
Free healthcare funded by Serbia that's open to Serbs and Albanians alike. A far cry from the segregated services in the north of Kosovo.
Here there's no difference between patients. Most of the Albanian-speaking patients come here for ultrasound scans because it's free. I think that's why they come here, because it's free.
Many of the younger doctors see in the clinic a model that could be copied elsewhere.
My colleagues and I all hope that the political situation will improve.
But for the time being, Remittances clinic, its Christian monastery and its apparent calm remain rare exceptions in today's Kosovo.
In this impoverished land, where unemployment stands at 40%, the population relies heavily on the large Kosovar diaspora. It's believed up to 20% of Kosovo's GDP depends on remittances. Our Brussels correspondent met Bashkim, a Kosovar who works in Belgium. Each month he sends money home to support his family.
A stone's throw away from the EU headquarters in Brussels, a French restaurant owned by 45-year-old Kosovar Bashkim. He's part of what's become known as the Kosovar diaspora. After 26 years here, he's now well integrated. But it wasn't always so easy.
It's true that Kosovars and Albanians had clichés, or I don't know what to call that. But that's not surprising, because when there's been 20 years of repression, there's been war, information doesn't circulate anymore. Some countries have tarnished our image.
Bashkim chose to stay in Belgium. Today he's invited members of the Kosovar diaspora to meet in his restaurant, their aim to discuss how to help their homeland, all of them sending back money to families still in Kosovo.
I still have family there and I help families who are in need. Every year when I go on holiday, we set aside part of our capital to help people there.
Capital that's welcomed with open arms by Kosovars back home. The money mostly sent from Germany and Switzerland. Studies show that diaspora donations count for 1/5 of Kosovo's GDP, the cash used to meet everyday needs. Bashkim's cousins in western Kosovo have been among those to benefit.
It was impossible to get by without Bashkim's help. I don't have any money. I don't work. The children work a bit, but they don't earn much. Just enough to eat and drink.
Recently, Remzi's had to renovate the house he shares with his 5 children and daughter-in-law.
To have building work done, my son borrowed 3,000 euros. And Bashkim sent me another 2,000. We had a lot of work done.
The family also spent time in Belgium before heading home to their native Kosovo, a mistake they say they hadn't realised how hard life would be back in their homeland.
Every time I talk about it, I get really emotional. Why did we come back? Our greatest mistake was to come back here.
She might be the rising star of European judo, but Majlinda Kelmidi won't represent Kosovo at the London Olympics. Like a majority of countries, the International Olympic Committee hasn't recognized Kosovo as a sovereign nation. As a result, Majlinda will have to compete under the Albanian flag.
21 years old and fighting fit, Marlinda Kelmendi's training for the London Olympics. She's seen as a serious contender for an Olympic medal. Her native Kosovo's not recognised by the International Olympic Committee, forcing her to fall back on fighting for Albania.
Of course, at the beginning I was disappointed, not just me, I mean all Kosovo, because everybody knows that I'm from Kosovo and I have started to train judo in Kosovo. It's better than to don't go at all. So I think I should look it in positive side.
Back home, Marlinda's plight made the Kosovan press. Her father kept the cuttings. He doesn't understand why the IOC won't recognise Kosovo.
I'm really sorry that she can't represent Kosovo. Normally at the Olympics you have a kind of truce. People enjoy peaceful relationships with each other. Why can't Marlinda benefit from that?
As for Marlinda, she hopes the Games will let the world come to grips with what Kosovo's really like.
I feel proud, not just because I am the only one from Kosovo who's going in Olympic Games. I'm feeling good because I am just showing the world that Kosovo is not a country only with troubles or something like this.
For the Kelmendis, sporting achievement runs in the family. And in this simple gym near the family home, a new generation's already dreaming of one day competing for Kosovo.
It's already the end of the first part of Europe District. After the news break, I will leave the village of Janjeva. We'll travel to the capital, Pristina. Ditan Emir, goodbye.
Ditan Emir.